Yes, Gold Peak Tea, hashtag not sponsored, is good stuff. And, you know, I go for this because even their diet version isn't bad. And just like I do things like with the Diet Dr. K, whatever, look, why would I want to load up on sugar on a beverage when I can have a cookie later, right? It still tastes sweet. Anyway, I'll put that off to the side. So, hi. In our last segment, we went through and populated this glacier by just considering what producers live here, what plants primarily, and what about consumers? You know, what beasties? And by the way, mushrooms are consumers. Maybe you could say that they're kind of straddling the fence there. But mushrooms need to consume dead bodies, right? See, Fallon gets it. But, you know, think about that. Molds and algae and all of this, from primitive life to more advanced. And that's what we're going to get into next. You know, there's a stat block for the Remores, even for our comma but different, from the discussion we had about how our Remoreses are going to be different. We came up with some interesting original ideas. We also went down the list of the different categories of monsters that exist in D&D. You know, these are the kings play chess on fine glass stools. Kingdom, phylum, class, order, genus. Wait. Kings play chess on fine glass stools. Kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. Ta-da! Ta-da! I'm remembering high school science, everyone. And it's been a minute since I've been to high school. So anyway, you know, check it out. And take what we did here. At the end of the, once we get through this next part, because I really want to build, I want to build this race with you all. You know, take a look at how this is broken down D&D style. And remember, as a DM, not everything has to exist in your world. You could run a D&D campaign and say humans do not exist. But they're in the player's handbook. Yes. And? But they're in the player's handbook. They are. So it's up to you, and you can do the same with the monsters that exist.
Damn, have so little time to cut you online footage like a month every time.
Oh, hey, thank you so... you know, I know it's very early in the morning for you, Bobo. In fact, Bobo, here, I'm sorry. I owed Plunder Loot to crack open a box real quick while we're talking about this. So here's some excitement. Sorry, I got so science nerdy, Plunder Loot, that I derped out that I owed you a first dibs on this. Humans are overrated. So yeah, run a campaign where humans are not allowed. Humans, get out. This is a Dungeon of the Mad Mage. Yep, everyone, please spam your emotes to give Mr. Plunderloot some luck here. So yeah, you know, think about this as you're making your region. You know, giants are in the monster manual. You could run an entire campaign with no giants. And giants don't have to exist. You know, furbolgs don't have to exist. Unless you want your furbolgs to be giants. You have all of this freedom to just modify things. into advance them, to regress them, to step them sideways and make them something interesting and different. You know, you play sliders with your D&D campaign. And if you don't know what sliders is, you should look it up. My IRL game has no halflings or gnomes, so no small races. Like dwarves are as small as it gets. You say tabaxis are mandatory. Yeah, the show sliders. All right. So plunder loot. Here's your 4 minis. In fact, we can even discuss an ecosystem with some of the things that are here. You want to talk about Underdark and in similar styles here? All right. So we open up with a Tressum, which is a winged cat. A Tressum. So it says a winged calico cat. You want a game with a red cap PC? I don't think it'd be that difficult to do, honestly. A red cap would just probably be kind of a reskinned forest gnome. Next up, we are going into the uncommons, and we have a piercer. Now, in these little guys, as you can see, cling to cave ceilings, and when they fall, you can guess that they do what they're named after. So here's a piercer. They blend in like stalactites and death from above. Next up, you have a huge uncommon, Mr. Plunderloot, and that is a large fairy dragon named Otto. And if you don't want that, Mr. Plunderloot, you have an ultra rare figure in this set. And the ultra rare figure you have is an invisible Desmere Shadow Dusk. And so remember, this can be a ghost. You can prime this and paint it yourself. You can have this act as, you know, if this character went into hiding, it can be a place marker on a map. There's a lot you can do with these invisible figures. So, Mr. Plunderloot, which one piece of the 4 do you want? Or rather, should I say, which 3 are you going to send to the orphanage? Hey, Victor, welcome. You want the winged kitty? Well, it might end up in the orphanage, Fallon. Fallon? Like, is that like a hard break, like kind of like Chinese, like Fallon? Or Fallon, almost like a one word. Otto and Desmere? Okay. So, I'll look up the difference, Plunderloot. And what I'll do is, whichever one's the most expensive, the second one, oh, Fallon. Okay, so like one word. What I'll do is the most expensive one will be your pull. The least expensive will go into the money that you're putting to make a miniature collection. Is that going to work okay with you? Fallon, I'm fair. The golden rule is true across many different religions and many different cultures. Treat others as you would like to be treated yourself. And I know that if I was going to be dropping some money on a stream and someone did this for me, that I would appreciate them taking that moment to say, yeah, you know what? There might be, for all I know, there's like $1 difference, maybe, between the two. And is my reputation worth $1 to lose if I'm going to be that petty and just give someone the least of the two? If the intention, if they're even willing to pay for a second figure, I'll eat $1 if it means making sure that y'all are having fun, right? I just got a YouTube comment that says, this channel is tragically underrated. I really enjoy your work. Well, SC Paulson, thank you for that comment, and I'll reply back to you here. I'm very, wow, I'm actually kind of humbled by that comment, just kind of out of the blue. That was my computer noise, not yours. This channel's tragically underrated. I really enjoy your work. Well, I like to think that we do good work here. Eat an actual $1 on stream. What's it worth to you? $1. All right. So, Mr. Plunder Loot. All right, Mr. Plunder Loot. There you go. And I'm going to put a note on the side that that says whatever, like price the difference. So I have a note about it. And that's going to put a Tressum and a Piercer in the orphanage. The first stream I came into, Maddie made me laugh, and he really hasn't stopped since, so I'm glad I'm providing entertainment. Yeah, Mr. Plunderloot, you have a venerable collection. And Mr. Plunderloot, thank you again for your support of the channel. And for, you know, you're one of the early adopters, and Mr. Plunderloot, you're the one who was telling me about, you were posting about D&D time. And so you are my gateway drug, Mr. Plunderloot. I enjoy the Tuesday game, but I'm biased. Well, yes, you are, but that's fine, because you're allowed to be. You know, having a bias isn't bad, as long as, you know, if you're aware of it and say, you know what, these are my preferences. You don't have to agree to someone, or with another person, because y'all have, you know, we all have our opinions, and we all have other things that we're just more intrinsically drawn to. No, I understand. Yeah, the Fox in a Box and Macabre Derek did as well. I don't want to make it sound like this was, you know, just on you and you're carrying the team here. But yes, like they did. But Plunderloot, like you were posting about it, and you sent me messages like, Maddie, you gotta see Pete and Jeremy. You know, and the rest is magic. So, by the way, so this is a good lesson for you all out there. Talk if you like streamers, you know, that do different things, get them to talk with each other, network, make communities stronger. Been trying to pass your stream out on Twitter. This place is a hidden gem. Well, I very much appreciate that, Fowland, because I do not have a social media presence for this channel, and it comes down to I do so much stuff that I'm the biggest bottleneck of the channel. And it's you know, I can only do so much. And as much as I want to reach out, I want more people to feel empowered and to realize, you know, yes, they may have played D&D, but have they gotten into D&D? Do they understand it? Does this unlock their creativity to draw, even if it's an MS Paint? Hey, thank you very much for the host, crowdfunded. You know, in Coffee Cat, I feel like I never feel like I'm doing enough, or I keep slipping behind. So about winged kitties. Yeah, so if someone can tell Fowland how he can adopt this Tressum, I would be much obliged. Coffee, that would be amazing. If you took the time to do that, You would be a very good kitty. You could be a very good kitty. There's, oh my gosh, my YouTube is just, it's a hot mess. The channel is just like, I exist, but I don't really have a, it's not unified, you know what I'm saying? There's so much that I can do. My potential is great, but my ability is bottlenecked on this guy right here. You're always a good kitty? Now you say that. What happens if I ask McFluffy Muffin? Yeah, branding's important. I'm gonna have to get like a brand of some kind. Yeah, crowdfunded. It's a list. I'm an absolute hot mess. It is. Again, we're flying this bird with duct tape, bubble gum, and some paper clips. Oh, he tells you that. He tells you that you're a good kitty as well. All right, well then, I tried. Yeah, Victor, I saw that you were doing some naval combat from your comments last night, and I think you said in the Discord that it went really well and you're excited about it. And that's awesome that, you know, you're doing this stuff that's creative and it's really getting you in there. All right, so you know, and this is D&D as well, right? You're like, all right, I got a plan. I'm gonna present content. We're gonna get her done. And then we just table talk and have some fun, and you know, other things can come up, and that's fine. This is a part of storytelling in D&D. McFluffy Muffin is a good dude. Aw. Oh yeah, well, I'm gonna tell McFluffy Muffin you said that. Oh snap, Katie Sue, you better come in here, and we're gonna weld the doors because there's an alien after us. Welcome, welcome. Misfit is back. I agree with Redcap. Katie Sue, unless all of you are lost in ad purgatory for the next 20-ish, 15 seconds or so. So you know, we have this. We went over. Now, how can you seed an environment with what exists and especially what doesn't exist? By the way, Katie Sue is another streamer. She plays Monster Hunter. She also plays D&D. Katie, if you're here, or Doomfish, if you all want to give a shout out, you want to talk about what you do, you all are definitely friends of the channel as well. So now I want to talk, let's talk sentient races. Well, there's one that we can create from the ground up together, and I think that'd be a lot of fun, and really what should be the focus of this part. Because not that sentient races have to exist everywhere, one or many, and as we said before, you can have a no humans campaign. You can also sit down with your players and say, everyone's human. There are only humans, either mechanically, or you say that elves are just dexterous humans that have been brought up in a particular region. Now, you don't live 700 years, but you're a human otherwise, and you have your special training. Because instead of it being racial, it is cultural. And so everyone's a human, but people are from different parts of the world. They might have developed different characteristics, melanin content, an epicanthic flap on their eye, you know, the things that we see, eye color, hair color, like skull or body shape, you know, hips. Do you want to insert some kind of sexual dimorphism? You know, a difference in size or qualities between the males and the females. You know, what do you want to do to modify things? You know, you could make a dwarf a human really easily. You know, you can, or everyone is dwarves. You know, I say human because I'm presuming we're all human here. So we had a tale of a star that fell and left its mark on the land. Well, at least you're being open about it, Coffee. My lady dwarves not only have beards, but they would be way taller than the dude dwarves. And that's perfectly fine. In fact, oh sheeps, you see the break screen? The dwarf in the foreground is named Ellie, and she is a widow. Her husband died a while ago. She lived as a widow for a while before she struck up adventuring. Ellie is a character that was played in the store's Thursday Curse of Strahd game, our open public game. And Ellie rocked the beard as well. That's why she put some really nice flowers in it, because she likes feeling pretty also. So we had a tribe of people that followed this star through a prophecy. Think of like a We Three Kings if you want sort of a vibe. The character was absolutely adorable. She was very matronly. She loved kids, which is a dangerous thing in a very kind of dark horror campaign setting like like Barovia or Curse of Strahd. She's been through some stuff. She was a widow, but she said, you know what? I'm not going to die alone in this house. I'm not going to spend another 20 years, in this place just cooking food and gathering and gardening and becoming just some old biddy. And so she went out to adventure, and she did. She made some excellent meals as well. And collected and pressed flowers. Victor, you should share that stuff in our Tales from the Tabletop on Discord. So they came in through here, and this big caravan of people who were chasing this star, a lot of them were lost in the bog, and a good portion of them had pressed on, and so they went through here. They discovered these falls that kind of like ramped up and did this thing, and they settled in the forest. That's in the crook of where this meteor kind of like slid to a stop. And from there, they ended up succumbing to the environmental effects of this meteor. Right? The original impact site, there's probably still big parts of it that are here. And then there's this core that pushed up. And their physical bodies sort of atrophied, or they phased into some kind of a will-o-wisp style person or a body. They're semi-corporeal creatures. In fact, if we go to will-o-wisps, they look like they're made of fog or mist. And of course, swamp gases and forest fogs and all that, they exist. So you can use that imagery very well. Oh, we're at zombies. I need to go a little bit. Oh, there's some Yanti. By the way, does this mini look familiar? It should, because there's a mini with a purple dress holding a sword that you can get out of Storm King's Thunder. You can get, by the way, this is the art for the mini that's also in there, too. I think I have one of them in the orphanage. And one of them, too. Yetis, I got Yetis. Get Yetis for days. Wraiths. Oh, yeah, I need to go. There we go, will-o-wisps. And that can play into this whole undead thing, right? If we're saying that the glacier in the previous segment actually like absorbs souls, and that's what's growing the glacier and causing the cold, these people have maybe they found a way. Maybe it was an effect of the radiation from the meteorite or something. But they exist on. They still die, and when they do, they're probably sucked into the glacier. But they can exist in this kind of semi-corporeal state as mist. They can interact with things, but maybe it's just a little bit different. And the Empire won that battle, Victor. It's fun. It's fun if you look back in history and you take the different types of ships and all this and you play around with it. the difference that like one different hull style or a weapon loadout can make. Real men wear purple dresses, says Misfit. Can anyone tell me where to look up the market value for orphanage stuff? Fallon, you can look it up on your own. I'll tell you that I do the market prices for the miniatures, or the prices listed by the orphans in our Discord, should reflect the general market prices for each of them. I looked up every single one of those miniatures individually, and besides having a base cost of $3, because I mean, on an open market, you might be able to find one of the minis I sell at $3 for $2.50, and if you buy it, that's fine. I don't begrudge you. But the way I look at it is, it's a lot easier to keep that in mind as a base price for our store or whatever. And I also look at it this: it's a personal challenge. If I'm not worth 50 cents to you, then I have to step my game up. And if I am not worth that 50-cent difference between a mini that you could get on eBay or the one through the orphanage, which you may, and I don't begrudge you for it. I believe in market forces. I'm a part of the market. Then it is a fire under my butt to say, if I'm asking this price, can I make myself worth it to people who want to get miniatures in order to pay that price? And that is a way for me to passively have an increase of quality and engagement in mind that holds me accountable, because I know you can get stuff cheaper, at least for the base price elsewhere. A lot of the high dollar stuff is pretty close to the competitive price. I might round up, I might round up a quarter or something. Purple's Mordecai's favorite color to wear, and you posted up the line art for the party. Yeah, y'all check it out. That is Coffee Cat's been doing a lot of awesome work. That is the Tuesday party, the roleplay party. Oh, Maddie, you're worth a whole $1 to eat on stream. Oh, you. If you eat $1 on stream, I'll give you 50 cents. Math just everywhere. Does that work? So that's our inspiration, and that these are the people that exist here. Now, when I say people, I mean they could be humanoid in shape. They could have been some sort of bestial race that was following a shooting star. Do they have a broad... Hey, stop. Do I have to lock you out again? Do they look like minotaurs or centaurs or satyrs? Are they like a big swole race, like Goliaths or furbolgs that we want to use as a template here? Go get it. Do we want them to have, make them look like species 7492 from Voyager, the people that eat Borg? So, let's make a playable race. And there's a very good template for the... Hi, yes, you exist. You fetched the ring. Congratulations. But you left it by the door. So congratulations, you played yourself. I can't get that. I can't get the ring. Alright, so let's take a look here. Alright, we can use, we can use dwarf. It's pretty much the same. So we have... we have an inspirational quote, like if we want to make it like an entry here. So we have, let's see, they were the, crowdfunded. They were the Whispers. That you wanted to call them Whispers? I need to throw it in con queso. I don't know if she'd like the cheese, but she wouldn't like the heat. Whispers. Insert quote here that demonstrates a general demeanor. Quick blurb. Physical notes. Cultural notes. Society. Values. Possible table showing interactions with other races. The environment, etc. April, thank you very much for the follow and welcome aboard. I hope that you're digging what we're doing here. I'm adorable. I don't know about that. I'm kind of scruffy, honestly. Now, we also have dwarf names. Well, I'm sorry, dwarf names. We have whisper names. And then we can break it down if the names are separated, male, female, or if they're separated into a caste. The names, a name can be very, very cultural. If you're going to create a race, similar to what we're going to be doing here tonight, right? Look at dwarven names. Adric, Albric, Bairn, Bernd, Brotor, Brunor, Dane, Darak, Delg, Morgran, right? Vondel, Tordek, Traubon. Are you getting a feel for things? Now let's even go to the female names. Amber, Bardrin, Gunloda, Gertis. Oh my gosh, cat, get your claws out of my chair. Ah, I love you so much. I love you so much. Of course, she comes over purring and is headbutting my hand as I'm dangling it over the side of the chair. If any of you speak Southern, what I just did is the equivalent of someone from the South saying, well, bless your heart. I love you. Yes, I do. So the name, with all due respect, I needed to, I don't know, my voices are pretty scrubbed here. So the name can offer a lot. You know, look, you see that we're getting a lot of these like K's and B's. These are very, you know, kang, kang, duh, duh. These are hard sounds to reflect a hard people, right? Whether it's male or female. Although what you might see is, you know, depending on how these translate in Dwarven, but let's take this for example, amber. You know, amber, it's, you know, it's tree sap, but look at it this way. Maybe the dwarves, the female dwarves are named after gems, and the males are named after metals. And it's a cultural thing. You can define so much about your culture and your people.
So, I think I'm seeing $1.2 on most things for the Trisim. If I'm wrong, I'll add more later. Bleed purple 100, bleed purple 100, bonus 20.
Oh, so Fallon, all right, to adopt a miniature, I don't have my mods on. I'll talk to you. Yeah, I'll talk to you later about it, Fallon. Yep, we'll talk later. Got it. Got it. But anyway, so you can define so much about how much you love your cat who's pawing at you and purring and licking your hand despite you doing other things. I know. If I said I'm too busy to at least recognize you, what would happen if I closed that door and shut you out and an accident happened and you wouldn't come back? Would I feel guilty? Would I feel guilty that I said I don't have time to pet you and tell you that I love you? I would. So while I am going to close you out of the room, yeah, you can meow at me all you want. I want you to know, I know you want to play, and I'm very grateful you want to play with me. Yeah, meow. Okay. But I can't play with you right now, alright? When I'm done, I will give you a treat. Yes, alright, that works. I'll give you a treat and I'll throw the ring. Everyone out there, thank you for taking the time with me for a minute so that I can address one of my lovely cats. And I can tell her that I do in fact love her. But I am going to kick her ass to the curb. Get out of here. Like, sometimes, look, just take a moment. Busy day. Are you upset? You got a ton of stuff going on. Just take a minute, jam out, reflect on the things and people that are important to you, and find your focus. My cat will leave the room, go get food. When I walk out of the room, forget where I am and meow. I could watch you fuss with your cat all stream long. Well, as much as I love doing so, tonight, I want to make a race with you all. I'm excited. If any of you are watching this on YouTube, you're probably like, come on, dude. You're like half an hour into this already. Maybe a little longer. I don't know. I haven't seen the video. And we haven't gotten the work in yet. But you know what? This happens. This is life. D&D is a reflection of life. So I'll tell you, yeah, fussy cat race. That is the tabaxi. Come on. Hi. Yes. I'm not going to take a break per se. I'm going to put the break screen up as a bit of an intermission for just like the 30 seconds it'll take for me to get up and toss the ring and have her encourage her to leave the room. And I'll be right back. So hang in there for a second. All right. Life is a reflection of D&D. You are absolutely correct, Fallon. There's some ASMR for y'all. Ooh, cold bubbles. That feels good in my throat. All right. Back to the grueling work, the soul-crushing expectations of Twitch and D&D. So we have all this build up. We have names that are going to have various, cultural indicators. And then we're going to come down here and iTyrant Games, amen. Oh yeah, were you feeling a little under the weather, iTyrant? I thought I saw maybe you mentioned that or something. So now we have whisper traits. Your whisper has an assortment. I mean, we could just kind of lift this, so we can, or whatever. Your whisper has a very interesting set of abilities, depending on where it was born. It was the chair the whole time. Ability score increase. There we go. I can type. Age. Alignment. Although, I mean, alignment is... April! Well, hey, thank you. April, are you trying to go for some minis, or is that just straight up going to get me out to California in September? You finish your day at work, but you feel like you should be doing more? Oh, sheep, spoil yourself. Let yourself relax. Let me do the work. Alignment, size, speed. And then if we do give him dark vision, we can put it here. And then others. So let's ask ourselves, and crowdfunded, since you're here, these are partially your brainchild. Those were, just to show some love, those are the first bits you've ever donated? April, I am glad to be worth your bits. Whether it was from watching ads or it was a purchase of bits. That is the time that you took to work or otherwise earn or acquire them, and that you're sharing them with me here. So thank you very much for that. So what I will do, April, is the convention fund is going to go up $1 to $105. Thank you very much. So, crowdfunded. Let's talk about these people. Are we talking... Were they one people as nomads that then perhaps split, and we have 2 or 3 different varieties? Perhaps we have a subrace of whispers that are the swamp folk, and a subrace that are the forest folk. But then, is there a third subrace, or are they really just split here, and this is more of a geographical difference between the two? Oh, sheeps. Hey, thank you for that. You wanna get that up to an even 106, huh? You have the itch? That's where we went and evolution split them. So are they split? Are they split in twain? Or are they split thrisely? There's and by the way, there's no correct answer. This is just what is your heart telling you? Oh, sheeps. With the random 2. We went 2, but all the glacier talk and tunnels, I feel there should be more. Oh. So there's like a glacial folk, a swamp folk, and a forest folk. I mean, are we going to get a coastal folk as well? Or are we calling it quits and we have like a watery folk and a land folk? I know server with multiple RP channels and they have rules that everyone follows. I'm sure Maddie's Discordians are reasonable peeps. I'm sorry, what was that in reply to, Victor? I hope we're reasonable. I'd like to think that we run a pretty good show on Discord. Not too crazy? Then how would you like to split it? Exactly. Crowdfunded, you can always add later. Fix it in post. Then what would we like to start with? We're going to build a core, like a whisper core. And then we're going to give a couple different traits to one subrace and a couple different traits to another. There are public RP channels, Victor. There's 2 of them. And a dice roller that has a rules reference to 5e built into it as well. It's just up to people to use them. Well, you have to think about it. All right, so let's build our core. All right. We have our stock, whatever they are, centaurs, minotaurs, humans, humanoids, like elves or whatever, even tieflings. Do they have tails? Do they have long ears? I don't know. Do they have 2 noses? Yep, we do. Ooh, pardon me. I mean, what if they have ears that act like noses, and so it's really easy for them to tell, you know, which direction scent is blown on the wind or something. It's the Dragon and the Griffin RP channel. There's an entire category for roleplay stuff, Victor. Gills to grab O2 from the air. There could be glacial tribes, Fallon, but primarily the idea spawned from when we generated the swamp forest terrain area here. So what is going to be the main ability score increase? You know, we have a people, and yes, they have changed into this kind of quasi corporeal form. Are they a strong people of muscle? Are they strong of mind? Are they very keen and intelligent? Are they, do they tend to be more graceful, more dexterous? Are they a hardy people? Do they just have a presence about them? I don't know. A charisma race could be interesting. If not as a primary stat, then as a secondary. We can make them very straightforward, like a mountain dwarf. You know, so all dwarves have a core, and then you have like the mountain template. Mountain dwarves pretty much get armor training and +2 to 2 stats. Wisdom can seem interesting, and maybe we can split that in a way. Especially as they're near the star. So that could end up being something like a... maybe something like strength. Well, they don't... while they appear as mist, they can be very strong, both tribes. And then it could turn into... They could have a base wisdom. If they were following this star, it was survival, it was tracking, it was perception. So they could have a base wisdom. Can they control the temperature? Oh, like are they warm-blooded or something? I don't know if they could intrinsically do that. We could even give them like a racial cantrip that could allow for something like that, where they could magically do so. That could play into strength armor. I don't know if I'm following you on that point, crowd. And it's nothing. I don't say that to stymie your creative process. I'm trying to think about what you said and putting it together, and I'm having the disconnect. Oh, strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, charisma are the 6 main stats in the game. And hey, we can go back and fix it. I want to get something on paper. So let's just roll forward. Let's say that these are a people who have an inherent strength to them. So all whispers, whether you're from the swamp or the forest, you have strength. I mean, paper, yeah. And also, what are you doing up so late, Evelyn? Ooh, pardon me. Strength +2. And you know what? iTyrant, maybe we can split that. Maybe the forest ones are have a higher wisdom, and the swamp ones have a higher intelligence. Actually, it'd probably be the other way around. The ones in the forest have a library that was sort of inherited and is a part of their culture, so they might have an inherent higher intelligence. The ones in the swamp are probably more the survivalists because everything's a little bit more ramshackle. So we'll have a strength +2 as our base. Also, what are we thinking? Are these a big people? Are these small people? Were they dwarf stature, which are technically medium, but they're like 4 foot something? Are they small that, they're lucky to reach 3'2" in their adulthood? Or are they big like furbolgs and Goliaths and they're 6'20" killing for fun? Ivlon's here to party. I'm allowed to be up late. I just got back from watching Avengers Endgame. Ooh. Maybe because they've gone digital. On the tall side of medium, spooky. Yeah. I mean, medium can go up to about 8-9 feet or so. I mean, it's mutable. So I guess I'm getting more of a medium-sized. And then we can put a descriptor, of how tall they are, but mechanically they're a medium-sized creature. The standard is 30 feet. However, there's nothing saying that we can't make them to 25. Even as a medium creature, or we could go up to 35 as a base. If we're drawing on our core rulebook. And this is important if you're making a race or you're making some homebrew content. Refer back to the player's handbook as the original source. Don't refer to another splat book, even if Wizards put out the splat book. Because you might encounter some unintentional power creep. Tall but thin. Okay. like a Slenderman race. Hey, right? They're spooky. They live in this like supernatural distortion state because of the irradiation of this foreign cosmic body. $35 makes sense if they're misty. Or, Fallon, I could even come back and say, what if 25 makes sense, but natural difficult terrain doesn't slow them down? So it's a trade-off. It's a constant plotting, but because of their semi-incorporealness, they don't interact with things as much. Right? So they almost pass through obstacles. Now, do they have dark vision? They're creatures that have lights, right? If they're kind of based on swamp gas, will-o-wisp in their current form, not as who they were as nomads coming into the land before they changed. I mean, look, a will-o-wisp. If we're also using source documents here, the will-o-wisp sheds bright light in a 5 to 20 foot radius and a dim light for an additional number of feet equal to the chosen radius. The will-o-wisp can alter the radius as a bonus action. So it does have dark vision, but it also does have variable illumination. I kind of like that maybe they don't have dark vision. Maybe the tribe that moved in here didn't, or they lost it, but they themselves are the lights. And so everywhere they go, there's light. And so at night, you get what you see here. You don't really see the mist that comprises their body, but you see their core, right? During the day, when all the light is shining on their misty, quasi-corporeal body, you can make out their vague shape and outline. How about that? So in this case, they don't have dark vision. Because they don't need it, because they could just produce light. Yeah, like a bioluminescence or even a quasi-supernatural luminescence. And by the way, for all the cultural stuff that we're talking about, remember, if you find inspiration, take it back. We made... so this kind of inherently turned out to match the story of these people. Maybe not so much the agents of evil, but... All right, let's go back to our template here, and give the base some abilities, which is also then going to go into languages and subrace. 2 main subraces of whispers populate the... We didn't give a name to the region. We'll just call this, whatever, the Coastal Valley for now. I mean, we could come up with a special name for it, but swamp and forest dwellers. And then we come down here to swamp whisper. Note. Ability. Score. Increase. And other. Or others. Forest Whisper. Note. Ability. Score. Increase. And other. And then we could even put a note down here. Possible note about a third tribe existing. Still lost inside the glacier. But effectively, you know, it wouldn't be like playable up front. We're starting with 2, but we're dangling the carrot that there could be some third ones that exist. Catching up in chat real quick. It would probably be a race-specific language. We can insert something. If this turns out, right, if this turns out to be a very elemental place, then Primal could be a known language. Or if we want to say that there's an otherworldly influence, Deep Speech could be a language. And yes, Nerdlepedia, hey Verbane, welcome. Nerdlepedia is here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Everyone, if you got the emotes, spam them in welcome for Nerdlepedia. You can speak, read, and write. We'll call this, if they were nomads, if they were travelers, we'll call it trade, the trade tongue. A modified Old Common. And, I don't know. We can go back and fix it if we don't like it. I'll just put Primordial. Most importantly, the cat butts. Yes, indeed. We're doing very well, Nerdlepedia. We're having an awesome night tonight. The creativity is flowing. They do air signals and write with mist, so you gotta read fast. We're fleshing out a region that we made over the course of the week so far. Like a rival? That would be interesting. I don't know if what do you mean by like a rival? Yeah, this region doesn't have a name. Well, so it's, I mean, we're using the Will-O-Wisp as an inspiration. I mean, Fae, they have it here as undead. I don't know if that necessarily matters. But in this case, these are people who, over time, succumbed to the mutagenic effects of a fallen star that they were chasing across the land. As whatever their base race was as nomads, they entered the area where the star fell, and over time, where they split and settled, it changed their bodies. And so I'm using Will-O-Wisp as a basic concept. Novaz Tel? I'm doing very well tonight, thank you. Bit of a scratchy throat, but I'm taking care of that with a little soda here and there. Arrival's that movie where the squid people write with ink on the glass that isn't glass. I haven't seen that, unfortunately, crowdfunded. And hey, Nova, thank you very much for the follow. Correct, yeah. You know, what we think of swamp gas and all the like. And if we didn't want primordial, this could be deep speech, because we learned from maybe the meteorite imbued an instinct through wisdom, or an intelligence through intelligence. So if we don't want that, then deep speech. Terra Multorum. In a world named Terra Multorum. One man. One crossbow. One donkey. All right, so we are going to have a... called Throat Coat. When I worked in a piano bar, the players swore by it, kept you singing even if your throat was giving out. I'll look into it. Maybe they'll have it at my local store? I don't know. Or is it like an herbal remedy place only? So if we gave him the speed 25, but we can have something along the lines of a, I don't know, we'll call it a phase step. Why not? Phase step. Natural, difficult terrain. Now, is this the... Am I going to be using the official D&D language? No. I want to get thoughts out there. I just want to build this, and we'll go back and revise it later. Doesn't affect you. And you don't suffer from exhaustion. Based on the weather. Right? So you don't necessarily get too hot. You don't necessarily get too cold. The rain doesn't make you exhausted, which is a mechanical condition. And natural difficult terrain. So magical stuff, illusory stuff can still trip you up. But natural stuff doesn't. You're constantly moving. You can move through it and go from there. We talking linguistic sciences? We might be talking that language, Victor. Marshmallow tea sounds like something my kid would make up. Walmart has it. Most local grocery stores have one or the other. It's a tea made with the marshmallow plant. Oh. And I was just at the store earlier. Nova asks, what are your expectations of the bundle that's coming out for Ghost of Saltmarsh? I did not play the original, but we did talk up the Unearthed Arcana, which was showing a little bit of ankle about it. And as a retail store, I also got in several of the Falling Star ships. In fact, I still have one for sale. Anyone? Wink. I love the idea of a nautical campaign, whether it's island hopping or it's along a coast, of the freedom to sail, of piracy, of being a privateer, naval battles and all that, exploring under the sea, which is often not a common location for a campaign or battles to take place. So ultimately, Nova, the devil's going to be in the details of what the adventures hold. But I am pre-optimistic for it. I'm looking forward to it, and I will happily accept it. I mean, I'm gonna get copies to sell in the store anyway. We'll see how it goes. I mean, Victor, if we want to get into the details of that, that's fine. That is a little bit more detail than the basic racial outline I'm looking for right now. So it's something to throw out there. Oh, so this is how it would sound. But I won't worry up front about that when we're just doing a very broad. We're doing a broad. Okay, so here's our concept. Like this is the first draft of the race. I don't know if they're neutral. They are people of passion. They followed their hopes and dreams when they were nomads of whatever race they were before they're what they are now. And even still, they just got done fighting in a civil war. But, you know, things like alignment, age, like, that can be important, but it's not as important as maybe discussing some of the mechanics that are going to reflect the nature of the people. So natural difficult terrain doesn't affect you, and you don't suffer from exhaustion based on the weather. Let's give them something else here. Let's give them... You know, there was a war that they fought, but they very well could have been... You know, some of them were... You know, some were melee, some were casters. They wear different things there. So I don't know. Maybe like a basic armor training could be good here. So that could be something like light armor training and or medium. And then, you know, if you want heavy, that's when you go into being a, you know, like a fighter or something. And you get that from your class. Giving them... Oh, they have the luminescence. So we're going to give them... and we'll just call it variable illumination, right from the monster stat block. Variable illumination. The Whisper... sheds bright light in a 5 to 20 foot radius and dim light for an additional number of feet equal to the chosen radius. The Whisper can alter the radius as a bonus action. Additionally, the Whisper can douse its light using the rules for drowning. And with a similar death should the light remain out too long. Ha! How about that? How about them apples? So they always have this light core inside them. Like this is the essence of their being. They can do it like holding their breath, because there's rules for that in the player's handbook. But if their light is out for too long, they die, just like holding their breath would. How is that helpful other than lighting things up? Because you need to light stuff up. You got to be able to see. They can't see without the light. These are creatures of light, it would seem. So yeah, they're always on if they're alive. They can douse their light and treat it like holding their breath. Does it ward off night creatures? Maybe. I mean, if creatures are scared off by light, then it could. But many creatures aren't. Ultimately, we are the masters of this domain, crowdfunded. And if a particular predator has grown an aversion to the light, then it could be defensive. Pardon. Or it could just honestly make seeing each other really easy. Ooh, pardon. Do they have a pantheon? We haven't necessarily discussed it. We talked a little bit about their religion and philosophy, but we haven't discussed the nature of it. If it's a monotheistic society, actually, well, we kind of discussed that one has abandoned religion, and so there's one other that believes that the falling star is some kind of a sign, an omen. It could be a prophet or a god itself that fell to the earth. It's not sunlight. I don't think it would harm undead. All right, so we have phase step. We're able to also increase or decrease our illumination. What are some other things? Like, look at dwarves. Look at elves. You know, some of these have some inbuilt weapon proficiencies. So that could be interesting if these people are known to fight in some capacity with something. Let's see, what else? Training, walking speed, Mask of the Wild is kind of its own thing there. We can give them a skill and or a tool. And or an instrument, and or extra languages. How about something like this? Strength of will. And this would be... It would be somewhat like the gnome magic resistance and the elf magic resistance. Because there's not a will save anymore, alright? It's specific to an ability. But this could be something like you have advantage on saving throws. Oh, Thor's, apparently. Against... we could have this be against enchant... as a school, I don't know, that's a little awkward to have an entire school have a resistance. But maybe this is something, like, they're purposeful. They're very willful people. So this would be against, like, mind-influencing effects. Like, halflings get the against the frightened. Fey ancestry is against being charmed. Actually, let's take a look at the conditions. The different conditions that exist. We have to see what condition our condition is in. $290. Deafened, frightened, grappled, incapacitated, blinded, charmed. Invisible. Oh, giving them resistance to invisibility. Interesting. Paralyzed. Oh, you know what? We could give them a resistance to, like being polymorphed or something could be interesting. Poisons could be interesting as well. Although there's a lot of liquid poisons, it doesn't mean that they won't affect kind of a foggy body. Hey! It's Trustaflump. Hello! How'd things go tonight? You have advantage on saving throws against languages. Or against languages, huh? This would be something that's I guess enchantment, or against being charmed. Against being charmed, or having. Let's just put a concept out here. But I got to follow my own advice. Just write. Just get ideas out there. Whatever. We'll fix it if we have to. Saving throws against being charmed, or having their minds manipulated through magic. And that's like modify memory. That could be psychic communication. In addition, you cannot willingly be made invisible. Or have your body altered. Whoop. By spells such as enlarge, reduce, or transmutation. Oh yeah, for charmed right here. You have to draw. Oops, I have to draw something now. Resistance to stun would be very powerful, oh sheeps. Maybe to being slowed, a resistance to being slowed. You advance against saving throws against being... so we'll put slowed. Like, I guess as per the spell or similar effects. So we have to find the language for this, but here we go. We're having fun with it. And these are very communal societies. They grew up differently. So they'll have something called everyone participates. You gain proficiency with one skill of your choice. Or 2 instruments and or tools. So I get what you're saying, crowdfunded. We have to be careful with the mechanics for that kind of a thing. And I bet we could give each of the races an intrinsic spell. That could be very interesting as well. Immunity to grapple? Possibly, but like they're still corporeal. They still do things. They interact with the world. So maybe if not slowed, because I don't know, they could still be magically slowed, because it was actually just natural terrain that we were talking about originally. I guess against being grappled or forced movement. Right now we're throwing everything at the wall and we're going to see what sticks, because some of this might just peel back off. No. I did, Plunder Loot did get a box of Mad Mage, so he cracked open the first box in a new brick of that, and I have 2 bricks of Mad Mage, but no one cracked open any Monster Menagerie 3 yet tonight. But do they control how they interact with the world, liquid, gas, or solid? They probably just exist as they do in this like quasi or demi or semi, they're a solid state. They just have this. They aren't completely corporeal because their bodies have been irradiated and changed into. They have their like core. Like, they have their light core, and then their bodies are just kind of, you know, they're not even necessarily humanoid. I mean, we should probably still define them as humanoid for mechanical reasons for spells. Oh, kind of like an ooze? Maybe. Oh, or they don't suffer the squeezing condition. They don't suffer the squeezing condition, so more of them can fight, like, closer. That could be it, too. Alright, I think this is a good list of stuff. I don't want to make them too overpowered. Natural difficult terrain doesn't affect you, and you don't suffer from exhaustion based on the weather. You aren't affected by the squeezing condition. Variable illumination, you can you shed light, and you can turn your light out like holding your breath. Strength of will, you have advantage on saving throws against being grappled or forced movement, or having their minds manipulated through magic. We already, you know what? We gave him a physical property up here with phase step. So let's not double down on that. And instead, you have advantage on saving throws against because this is a long list of stuff. This can get very powerful very quickly. I guess we could just say against being charmed. There's nothing wrong with going back to basics. I mean, this is a good solid elf ability, and this can work, right? So we're determined, and that is also going to be reflected. Don't forget this either. Your abilities aren't always just listed. The fact that we're going to get a +1 to int or wisdom is also going to reflect our ability to save and make rational decisions. Okay, so here's a cosmetic note. I'm not going to worry about that. The Swamp Whispers, your wisdom score increases by 1. And the other one was your intelligence score increases by 1. See how many people I can date with that Elmira reference? What, from Tiny Toons? I think I was hung up on a misunderstanding. Oh yeah, Tiny Toon Adventures, love it. So now this is a chance for us to give them another, like, a custom ability or two. So we could do something like an intrinsic, like a racial spell. You know, and it could be a cantrip, or it could be something like a progression. Like what you see with tieflings or drow, where Infernal Legacy, you know, the Thaumaturgy cantrip. Once you reach 3rd level, you cast Hellish Rebuke as a 2nd level spell. Once you reach 5th level, you can also cast the Darkness spell. Bada boom. Maybe they can get custom spells this way. based on, you know, do they live in the swamp area, do they live in the forest? They can perhaps pick up a different skill or some sort of weapon or armor training as well. You know, if we have the more militaristic forest dwellers, maybe we give them proficiency with certain weapons, and then over here we give them proficiency with certain armors, more defensive. So all of this stuff can reflect the culture. They're mechanics, but the mechanics should tell a story and not just be a stat line. That said, we also need to stress test this race and make sure that we can't break them mechanically or mathematically. Swamp gets survival. We'd be handing out 2 skills on the race. That's not necessarily a bad thing. I would almost want to make it a choice, though. Like, survival is really good universally. If we do something like force a skill like history or nature or something, I would almost want to look at the other wisdom skills like medicine or animal handling instead and give those skills some love, because those would be very important to nomads, and that could be a part of their heritage, and that is also supporting the fact that they're getting a +1 in wisdom. So if we do that, you know, we get this connection to the earth. You are proficient in either the animal handling or medicine skills. And if we really want, we can even add a note and say, if you are already proficient in them, you can add your... well, we could make it the modifier. If we don't want it to be expertise, which is adding the... or we could just say that you pick one and you could add your modifier twice your modifier. That could make it a little bit more interesting. You add twice your wisdom modifier to the chosen skill. So down here, so if that was the connection to the earth, this could be connection to the sky. You are proficient in either the nature or religion. They're not religious. That doesn't mean they don't study religion. They just do it differently. They're taking a scientific approach. Instead of saying, you know, God or the gods provide, they understand the weather patterns. They could be researching this from a secular point of view, this doom prophecy. You're proficient in either nature or religion. Because, again, this calls back to their nomadic roots also. Welcome back, Gracie. You're heading up to bed? All right, Misfit, I'll see you later. So, we have something... We have a light loadout right now for the sub races. Let's see... Oh, why don't we do something like this, where... Oh, where is it? It's under Cleric. Clerics of Light get something very interesting. And again, draw in the source books. Warding Flare. At first level, you can interpose Divine Light between yourself and an attacking enemy. When you are attacked by a creature within 30 feet of you that you can see, you can use your reaction to impose disadvantage on the attack roll, causing light to flare before the attacker before it hits or misses. An attacker that can't be blinded is immune to this feature. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your Wisdom modifier. You regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. So maybe we give each of them something that they can do that's custom with their inner light. So we have the... we just call this the Light of Wisdom. We don't have to be original right now. We just gotta get ideas out. Once per long rest. When you are attacked by a creature within 30 feet of you that you can see, you can use your reaction to impose disadvantage on the attack roll, causing light to flare before the attacker, before it hits or misses. An attacker that can't be blinded is immune to this feature. Now, I don't know if that's just for swamps and we give something else to forests because they do something different. Maybe they have a bit of a healing light. And so one can self-restore as per a monk, and the other one can ward. So if we go to monk, and let's take a look at their healing ability. Wholeness of body. You gain the ability to heal yourself as an action. You regain hit points equal to 3 times your monk level. You must finish a long rest before you can use this feature again. So one is the Light of Wisdom, or I guess we'll call this... Defensive Flare. And then this one is going to get a... Curative Light. Once per long rest. As a reaction to taking damage from an enemy, you can... Should this consume a resource? Or should it be tied to something? You can restore a number of hit points equal to... How should we do this? It can be based off hit dice. Pardon me. It can be based off hit dice. It could be based off of something fixed, like character level, like half or 1/3, because those mechanics also exist. So this would be kind of like a top off, but this is something you can get at level 1. So like at level 20, as a reaction to taking damage, you'd recover 10. Is that like meh? Whereas the flare could just mitigate an entire like 60 points of damage. So maybe the healing can scale up. You can restore a number of hit points equal to your... I guess character level. Plus your... I mean, because the modifier is going to be big in the beginning and it's not going to be so big later on. Equal to your character level plus your intelligence modifier. Strength. Well, the forest are the plus ints. Still, they are strength-based people. Plus your strength modifier. Minimum 1. You're thinking something like the fighter second wind? You're going to be heading out soon? All right. Hey, Felon. Thank you for being a part of the conversation and hanging out with us and talking and providing a lot of cool ideas. Oh, so instead of a curative, it's something more offensive like a fairy fire? So so this would really just be once per long rest. You can target a creature within 30 feet of you. You can see. You can use your, I guess, as a bonus action, to gain advantage on an attack roll, causing light to flare before the attacker hits or misses. That might not be a bad idea. We will table this. So I'll just control exit and we'll drop it here just in case. So if one is like a defensive flare. One we could just call like a searchlight. Once per long rest, when you declare an attack against a creature within 30 feet of you that you can see, you can use your... you can use your reaction to grant advantage to the next attack made. So maybe not when you declare an attack. Once per long rest. If you see a creature within 30 feet of you, you can use your reaction to grant advantage to the next attack made against it until the start of your next turn. Or... well, so that would open it up to anyone. This should probably be more personal. Like, you're putting your target on it. To the next attack you make against it. Now, if there's an immunity to the defensive flare, there should be a condition. A defender targeted by this ability should almost like a reckless attack, or would that, or I don't know, that might be too much of a detriment. If the first has an out, would the second? Well, I don't know. A defensive flare imposing disadvantage, that could be huge against a major attack coming in, like especially if it's a crit. This one, it's not even a guaranteed hit because you can roll 2 low numbers. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I accidentally deleted that out from when I moved the other one. Yeah. Oh yeah. If you see a creature within, so this would really just be once per long rest, a creature within 30 feet of you that you can see, and really that just could exclude automatically. Yep. Brevity is the soul of wit, and it's very graceful, and I think this takes care of it right here. Yeah. Exactly. So there we go. We get an ability score. We get a skill, and we get some kind of an offensive or defensive capability. We're methodical in our motion. We exist in the world. We're not ethereal. We're not like blinking out of existence. We can provide light. We can douse it. And we do have this advantage on saving throws against being charmed. Or be willingly made invisible or have your body altered. So we're a hardy folk, as you'd expect from nomads, especially ones that have been irradiated by a falling star and have mutated into these kind of will-o-wisp type people.
Bleed purple 100, bleed purple 100, bleed purple 100, bonus 30.
Oh, Fallon. Okay, is that going towards the miniature then? I think we have a good... Okay. I'll make sure to note that, and then I'll bring that up when I'll talk to you on the side about it. Yep, we can set it aside for you, Fallon. No problem. And thank you for using the bleed purple for those extra bits. I mean, I say thank you, but it'll save you 30 cents apparently. I think we have a really good staple. I don't think this race offhand is like incredibly powerful. Yeah, we have a strength int built, and so that's good for, maybe a muscle wizard or an Eldritch Knight. That could be cool. Maybe a blade lock that is an investigator of some kind. Maybe more of a thuggish rogue. And then we have the wisdom strength, which, could make monks can attack with strength. It doesn't have to be dex. It doesn't necessarily play into it, but, it is still a fighter style. A barbarian could go well, an observant barbarian. So I don't think this is, like, made for a class. This isn't going to be, yes, secretly, we've been talking about all this other stuff, but I made it for this class, and it's going to be the best at it. And, we didn't take that approach, and I don't think that's going to appear with this race. I think it can serve a lot of archetypes in different ways. This could serve a monk. This could serve a barbarian. This could serve a fighter. This could serve a rogue. This, strength wisdom could serve a cleric really well. Strength int, you're like, well, I don't know. Int can do a lot of things besides just cast magic as a rogue or a fighter or a wizard. With those skill checks in order to get knowledge about enemies and weaknesses and stuff like that. You can do a lot with intelligence-based skills. Investigation can help out a ton as well. Pact of the Sword, like blade locks or hex blades. But all right, anyway, we have a solid concept, everyone. We can come back and talk about it. I'm fine with that. I got to get up, and I'm going to take a quick little break here. I'm going to refresh my beverage. And we could talk about populating other parts of the map. We can talk about fine-tuning this race. We can talk about whatever. But Give me a little bit of time here first.